What up, for families? Forward Fabian, man. I'm back with a video for the channel. I'm actually doing a reaction to The Supreme, and we got what a man discovered in Africa shocked the whole world. So this is my first time doing a reaction to The Supreme. Not too familiar with this channel, but we've been doing a lot of like exploration, a lot of mysteries, a lot of conspiracy theories, things of that nature, things of that sort. Longer form content videos as well. So with that being said, man, much love to everybody. Much love to everybody rocking with the channel. I definitely appreciate all the support. You can obviously check out everything I got going on in the description of the video. Go to the playlist page to get familiar with all the different forms of content I do drop on the channel. With that being said, man, I've been doing a few reactions here and there to specifically, like I said, the adventurous, I call it the interesting stuff playlist, but feel free, man. I'm not opposed to doing music. I'm just, spreading the channel out in various forms of directions to only expand the horizon. So I do donation requests. You can check out my PayPal link in the description. You can donate like $10 and I'll do a specific song request. You know what I'm saying? That's to help support a young entrepreneur, man. You know what I'm saying? Dude gotta eat, man. Gotta live. With that being said, let's get into this video, man. Hopefully should be interesting. If you have additional recommendations, comment down below. What a man discovered shocked the whole world.
Africa has the longest human history of any continent, dating from at least 4 million years ago. Scientists even believe that Africa was the birthplace of mankind, so it's no surprise that some very unusual things have been turning up there. It's literally a gold mine of human history, and the mystery continues today if these videos are any indicator.
Students are finding proof that this theory just might be true. So far, they're not finding whole skeletons, only certain parts.
From floating villages to giant diamonds, angry African birds to unbelievable attempts at raising the dead, this continent is the gift that keeps on giving. 15 shocking things recently discovered in Africa, Part 2.
Part 2? What part 1 is?
Number 15. Africa is splitting apart. Did you know that the African continent is slowly splitting apart and a new ocean is forming? It's true. The East African Rift and the Danakil Desert in this region of Ethiopia is a truly special place where the rifting of two tectonic plates is driving the birth of a new ocean. It is home to countless volcanoes, faults, and fissures, as well as a striking variety of animals and humans who have adapted over time to the notoriously harsh environment, even though it's coming apart. A 2005 eruption at a volcano nearby, followed by a period of intense seismic activity, started a crack in the Earth's crust. The ground opened up during an earthquake, creating an explosion known as the Dabahu fissure, and according to witnesses, it moved south like a zipper opening. Here it's possible to stand on the exact spot where deep underground the continent is splitting. All this happened in a matter of days. Over the course of the next few months, hundreds of crevices were seen splitting in the desert floor. At the same time, scientists observed magma rising from deep below as it began to form what will eventually become a basalt ocean floor. Normally, geological events like the formation of rivers, seas, and mountains is a painfully slow process, but this is happening at a staggering rate. Now,
I was just about to kind of dive into that. Like, how long does that take for that to become a body of water? Rain precipitation. I would assume that over time would obviously fill in that crevice. But it seems to be the fact that a lot of places in Africa got volcanic sites, so to speak, eruptions, volcanoes that are set to erupt. My father actually, sent me a photo of an area he's in, and there's like an active volcano there, to where you can see, at nighttime, at nighttime you could see like the top of the volcano will be lit, right? Because that could be all the magma and everything kind of bubbling. You know what I'm saying? The concoction.
Let's get ready for today's open discussion. In the 2012 sci-fi alien creation film Prometheus, at the opening of the movie, we meet a giant character known as an engineer. It's a huge muscle-bound alien-like humanoid creature who later makes another appearance in the movie.
Facts. So what you saying is real?
Let me show you something.
What you trying to tell us, G?
Looking a lot like this. A preserved head dug out from sandy ruins. In the fictional movie, there were the creators of life on our planet. So that's why what a man discovered in Africa shocked the world. Are we looking at these so-called planetary engineers? Otherwise known as ancient aliens, according to believers, extraterrestrials may have had a role not only in the extermination of the dinosaurs, but also in the construction of the Egyptian pyramids. There are many people ready to believe that aliens visited Earth before recorded history. Could a discovery like this be the proof we need? Were there giant aliens on Earth before humans took over? What's happening here? Your input is necessary. Leave a comment with the hashtag #OpenDiscussion. You want to know a little secret? If you smash the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell, you'll have superpowers for the rest of your life. So what are you waiting for? Time to fly. Number 14, Floating Village. A small group of people in Benin, a small country in Western Africa, took advantage of a different set of circumstances to evade attacks by rebels. The ancestors found a religious loophole. Local religious practices forbade raiders from advancing on any people dwelling on water, laying the groundwork for this remote community. Gonvier is Africa's largest lake village. The village sits several miles from the nearest shoreline and is about a 4-hour journey from the country's capital. It's a village of roughly 20,000 people that stands on stilts in the middle of the lake. The founders of the village fled there to avoid other opposing tribal warriors, and in the roughly 500 years that have passed since, it's developed an intricate and prosperous culture within the constraints of life on water. The villagers travel almost exclusively by boat, and the few domesticated land animals they maintain live on plots of grass that spring up from the water.
This reminds me of that city in Rome. That's why I had to do a quick search. The sunken city of Bai. The park home is the sunken city of Bai, an ancient Roman city that was completely submerged by bradyseism activity, a phenomenon typical of the volcanic area of the Phlegraean fields. That's crazy. Hopefully that isn't the future of Benin.
Without a good supply of domesticated animals, it relies on a complicated network of underwater fencing to corral and farm fish. Gonvier's 3,000 buildings include a post office, a bank, a hospital, and a church. The village school is one of the few buildings not on stilts. Number 13, Ghost Town. One evening in 1908, a railway worker in Nabia was shoveling the tracks clear of creeping sand dunes when he saw some stones shining in the low light. And this region was never the same. They were diamonds. Soon, hordes of treasure hunters descended on the area. And not long after, the town of Komenskap was born, producing 1 million carats a year. At the time, that was over 10% of the world's total diamond population. At the time, that was over 10% of the world's total diamond production. But as you can see, it looks like the diamonds ran out. Back then, people were becoming rich overnight simply picking diamonds off the desert floor, so naturally, authorities wanted greater control. These kinds of resources need to be protected, so they declared this vast area of Namibia a restricted zone and reserved prospecting rights. However, intensive mining depleted the area of all its diamonds by the 1930s, and within 20 years, townspeople left in droves, abandoning homes and possessions. The diamond town was completely abandoned. Now, this ghost town in southern Africa's desert is in the middle of a region known as the Forbidden Zone. However, as many as 35,000 tourists visit here every year. This far-flung desert town was once one of the world's richest, but was abandoned and has been slowly sinking into the sand ever since.
So, I would assume you could still find some diamond remnants somewhere. You know, I think that's why probably tourists visit to see, oh, am I going to come across a diamond? You know what I'm saying? I guarantee all the diamonds haven't been excavated from that area. But point being is that Africa got a lot of resources, man. That's the thing, man. That's why, you know, the Europeans try to come over and, you know, steal everything and, you know, make everybody a slave. You know what I'm saying? Because they already understood the power of the continent. And that's what I honestly think, that there's so much power in Africa, and like they want to kind of like essentially the world wants to diminish the people there, you know, in terms of what's the word I'm looking for? They're trying to oppress them, you know what I'm saying? And people there don't really understand the worth of the value. It's just corruption after corruption. So I think once Africa understand and learn and get educated and they stand up, you know, it's going to be a world power. Africa could be a world power, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, as a continent, you know, we have America as a world power, as a country, like, but Africa as a continent, wild. But will we see that day? I don't know, because there's just a lot of beef, a lot of negativity, and I don't think, you know, naturally in the world, humans don't like coming together. So, hey, what it is.
Number 12. Tower of Trouble. Its dystopian appearance has seen the skyscraper used as a filming location for sci-fi thrillers District 9 and Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. The 55-story Ponte City Tower is 567 feet tall and located in a suburb of Johannesburg, the largest city in South Africa. Today, Africa's tallest residential building ended up in such disrepair it was branded a vertical slum. At one point, there were even proposals to turn it into a high-rise prison. It's that bad. Built in 1975, the cylindrical skyscraper was intended to be a prime location in what was then considered an up-and-coming area of the city. Three-story penthouses crown the circular tower, boasting saunas, jacuzzis, and patios with views like no other. It began life as one of Johannesburg's most desirable residences before it spectacularly fell from grace, becoming a notorious shanty town in the sky. If you think the exterior is menacing, it's nothing on the building's core, which once housed a pile of rubbish that rose 14 stories high. Once shunned by many of the city's inhabitants and tourists alike, the tower—
That thing look sophisticated.
A group of people were asked to project onto a flask of water
is trying to turn its image around. It's fully occupied, and there's actually a waiting list to move in. Number 11. Bird plague. This very special social weaver finch migrates and nests in flocks that number in the millions. In fact, the most numerous wild bird on Earth, estimated at 1.5 billion individuals, is this red-billed quelea. To most of the world, it's a cute, sparrow-like bird native to sub-Saharan Africa. But to the farmers of the regions that this little creature calls home, it's a pest capable of wiping out their crops. There's a very good reason why this bird is popularly known as Africa's feathered locust. Each bird eats about 4 grams of plant seeds per day, which doesn't sound like much, but when you consider that it feeds in flocks of millions of individuals, the math starts to get pretty scary for farmers and those who depend on their crops. To say that this creature is a voracious little bird would be an understatement. This single species causes such extensive damage to cereal crops around sub-Saharan Africa that countries have gone as far as to use population control techniques. For decades, governments have tried eradicating them, at least in certain regions, but their efforts have far proven futile. These tenacious little birds are more than humans can handle. The red-billed quelea remains the most numerous undomesticated bird on planet Earth. Number 10. Giant celebrity sheep. Known as the king of sheep around the globe, the Ladum sheep is considered a mark of prestige and a status symbol with prices for top specimens exceeding $85,000. Even though you can find scrawnier specimens for as low as $3,000, the breed is definitely too expensive for the majority of farmers. There's no denying the physical qualities. They're giants of their species, reaching heights of up to 6 feet at the shoulders and weigh as much as 385 pounds. They have smooth coats and long curly horns. A hybrid of 2 different sheep breeds, this virgin was first bred in the early 1970s. For such a young breed, the sheep is incredibly popular. The vast majority of people here consider them beautiful.
There's people, you know, doing their little experiments, mixing DNA. It's like a liger, you know, where they bred a lion and a tiger, and that thing, man, is huge. It seems to be something about when you do a lot of this crossbreeding or whatever it is, like, I don't know, the growth intensifies in that animal.
Majestic even. So they watch Ladum sheep beauty pageants on TV and follow popular breeders on social media just to admire their flocks. Although it's been around for about half a century, breeders only started refining the breeds over the years, accentuating its proportions and physical beauty. Their work paid off, as it's now considered more than just a sheep. It's a status symbol, one that people in Senegal recognize as more important than cars, houses, or expensive clothes.
Come on, what's the purpose though?
Number
You just
9.
breeding sheep so that
Giant diamonds.
you can show them off.
The world's third largest diamond, a 1,098 carat, 3-inch gem, has been found in Botswana, and the gem, found in the world's richest mine, is worth around $46 million. The latest find is the biggest stone of gem quality to be recovered in the 50-year history of the company. Simply put, diamond formation occurs when carbon deposits deep within the earth. Approximately 90 to 100 formation occurs when carbon deposits.
Imagine looking at this rock. I mean, I think only some people can actually identify a diamond, because this isn't a diamond in its actual, like, on the form that we see it, you know, on jewelry, rings, whatever the case may be. Like, imagine if you had this rock in your possession, you thought it was just a rock. You threw that thing away, or somebody tried to convince you to give it up or sell it to them for like $5, and you just got finessed. Then they go flip it on the market for $45 million, whatever he said.
As it's deep within the earth, approximately 90 to 125 miles below the surface, are subject to high temperature and pressure. Some stones take shape in a matter of days or months, while others take millions of years to materialize. Most natural diamonds date back millions, if not billions of years. And interestingly enough, diamond growth isn't always an uninterrupted process. A rough diamond's formation can be disturbed due to a change in temperature or pressure. The gemstone could then wait for hundreds or even millions of years for conditions to be suitable for growth to continue. Although nobody knows how old this rock is, this particular diamond is the third largest in the world. The biggest ever discovered in the world was a 3,106 carat diamond found in South Africa in 1905. The second largest was a diamond the size of a tennis ball, discovered in Botswana in 2015. Number 8. Alien boxes. These alleged alien boxes are so well constructed that some experts think that they were not built by the ancient Egyptians. Weighing over 100 tons and made of gold, 24 strange and coffin-shaped black boxes were found buried in a hillside 12 miles south of the Great Pyramid of Giza. At the Serapeum of Saqqara, a necropolis found near Memphis, Egypt, built sometime around 1300 BCE, they were buried, and the skillfulness and dexterity of their design looks positively machine-cut, even alien-like. The interior of the tomb is within a few thousandths of an inch of being perfectly flat, and the angles are almost all cut at 90 degrees. However, while the origin of these boxes still remains unknown, they were clearly of high significance.
It's everything you wish for. Your site traffic is skyrocketing until the
archaeologists and historians say they were used to bury the sacred bulls of ancient Egypt. Indeed, it's difficult for some to imagine why people would go to such trouble of creating a box just for a dead bull, but certain bulls were incredibly sacred creatures to many ancient Egyptians. They represented strength, determination, and virility, and were both a deity and a manifestation of the pharaohs. So it's
I had watched a video the other day where somewhere in India, these guys, they pretty much like worship cows. You know what I mean? And I guess a symbol of luck and good fortune. And then they had a cow that, you know, was born to this man. And essentially the cow came out with 5 legs. There was a leg hanging from the cow's face or something like that, or its neck. And, you know, when this cow had, basically they just worshiped the cow even more, saying that it was a sign from God, this and that. Like, I don't understand what the obsession is to worship or, you know, put animals on pedestals like that, like they gods or something like that. But I guess that's just a part of the culture. You know what I mean? But I think it's just a lot of superstition, man.
It's not exactly beyond belief that they would spend so much time and effort building elaborate tombs for the beings they worshipped. Number 7. The Dead Forest. Even in its surreal, out-of-this-world appearance, it's known as being the most beautiful dead place on Earth. This dead forest in Namibia. And it's hard to forget this barren, stark landscape. At night, this haunting place has some of the clearest skies in the world, but its name literally translates to mean Dead Valley. It's located in one of the harshest climates on Earth, in a valley between some of the tallest dunes in the world. The trees here have been dead for around 600 years, scorched black by centuries of sun. The rich red dunes that surround the area owe their hue to age. Over the thousands of years, the sand has actually rusted, but believe it or not, it once contained a flowing river and housed many trees and plant life. Once upon a time in the desert's history, the pan would have been a river or lake. The clay pan was formed after rainfall, when the nearby river flooded, creating temporary shallow pools where the abundance of water allowed these camel thorn trees to grow. But as time went on, dunes started to close in and cut off the river, leading a kind of paradise frozen in time. Now, all that remains are tree skeletons trapped in a white clay marsh, set against red rusted dunes and a brilliant blue sky.
Dune. Y'all gonna go
Number
see Dune
6,
too? The new
mysterious desert keyhole. People have theories and studies of these colossal structures, but we know this, throughout the whole of a national park in Algeria, down to the Hogar Mountains, they're elaborately constructed stone monuments whose shape resembles keyholes. The infamous keyhole monuments. Some are very small, around 25 feet, man. And some are huge.
It's kind of like, what's it called? The crop circle. But this is related to, like, I guess, the desert. Come on, man. Come on, man. At this point in time, it's unexplainable, man. A lot of people, they discredit the crop circles, right, because they could be recreated. But that doesn't help us understand, like, how they were created at the origins when technology wasn't a thing back then. Advancement wasn't a thing.
Up to 1,000 feet. Some are surrounded by mysterious circles, or circles within, placed specifically in a certain position. According to current knowledge, these keyholes are probably the oldest of the known Sahara monuments. However, their function remains unclear. Even alien intervention is rumored to be responsible. One theory suggests they're actually tomb markings. How old are these pre-Islamic tombs? Chances are these tombs are only around 3,000 years old, maybe double that. But this time, megalithic tombs became widespread across the ancient world, most spectacularly in ancient Egypt. What's interesting is the orientation of these tombs is almost always towards the east within the range of the rising sun, which could have something to do with the local beliefs at the time surrounding rebirth and the afterlife. Number 5. The Skeleton Coast. This gnarly place is known as the land God made in anger by the locals. The Skeleton Coast has an infamous reputation all of its own. Sailors once referred to it as the gates of hell. Thousands of ships have been claimed by the Skeleton Coast, and they're scattered over 310 miles of coastline, the northern part of the Atlantic coast of Namibia and south of Angola.
Seen this in the last video.
On the coast, the upwelling of the cold ocean current gives rise to dense ocean fogs for much of the year, and rainfall rarely exceeds half an inch a year. The climate is highly inhospitable, and it's littered with shipwrecks stranded on shifting sand dunes, with no human settlement in sight. Over the centuries, a deadly mix of thick fog and strong currents caused many shipwrecks, and it was a grim fate. Any survivors would have found themselves stranded in an uncharted desert with no food or drinking water. So finding human bones here is not unheard of. And now and again, the rough surf settles just long enough to reveal a new ship's sunken grave. And along the shore, you can find the remains of the crewmen whose last attempt was to bring their ships to safety. Skeleton Coast National Park was established in 1971, covering 1.6 million hectares around the coastline. It remains a wilderness of untouched, striking beauty. Number 4. Rainbow Earth. The 7 colored Earths are a geological formation and a prominent tourist attraction found on an island nation in the Indian Ocean, about 1,200 miles off the southeast coast of the African continent, east of Madagascar. It's a relatively small area of sand dunes comprising sand in 7 distinct colors: red, brown, violet, green, blue, purple, and yellow. The colored sands
Introducing
look like some
custom
hippos,
t-shirts.
man.
Sticker Mill makes it easy to turn
Comment
any
down below,
design into
man.
a
I
custom
guess additional
shirt.
content you
Make
guys want to
shirts
see.
to promote.
Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit notification bell. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter for a favorite, man.
settle in different layers, and then the dunes acquire a surrealistic striped coloring. Since the Earth was first exposed, Rains have carved beautiful patterns inside the hillside. The different shades of color are believed to be a consequence of the molten volcanic rock cooling down at different external temperatures, but the causes of their consistent spontaneous separation are yet to be fully understood. Another odd feature of the dunes is that they don't seem to erode despite heavy and frequent rains, but you can see why the place has become one of this island's main tourist attractions since the 1960s. The natural beauty of the site has attracted a healthy tourist trade. Nothing can protect visitors' eyes from the striking colors on display. Nowadays, visitors are not allowed to climb on them, but can look at the scenery from observation outposts placed along the fence. Number 3. Resurrected Pastor. A South African pastor has been making headlines all over the world for staging a hilariously ridiculous prank in which he appears to bring a dead man back to life in front of a congregation of churchgoers. The controversial religious figure can be seen putting his hands on the dead man's chest and shouting, "Rise up!" The man, who had supposedly died due to an undisclosed illness, opens his eyes and rises from the coffin with his mouth and eyes wide open. To the shouts and cheers rises from the coffin.
Look at bro right here. He crying. He like don't even think it's possible. Like, we'll finish the video and I have my comments on this after the
coffin
fact,
with his mouth and eyes wide open. To the shouts and cheers of churchgoers gathered around him. And the video reviving the supposedly dead man emerged and quickly went viral, with internet users posting their own dramatic simulated revivals alongside screenshots of this pastor's alleged resurrection miracle. But it prompted a backlash from the funeral home hired to make the arrangements. They actually released a press statement distancing themselves from the stunt. The company wrote in a statement, "We're in the process of taking legal action for this malicious damage to our image." Soon after, even the church had distanced itself from the video, telling local media it was not a resurrection miracle. News outlets started reporting on it as well, and it wasn't long before authorities and religious figures put out statements condemning the pastor's actions. Number 2.
Crazy, bruh. Crazy. And if that's one thing y'all didn't know, man, there's a lot of manipulation through religion and obviously beliefs in Africa. It's crazy how people try to milk faith and people's faith and try to act as they're these, gods and prophets of just to manipulate people and, milk their bank account. People in Africa obviously take religion very seriously. And I think a lot of immigrants take, or minorities is the specific word, to take faith and belief very seriously, because naturally when you're oppressed, you try to put your belief in the higher power and something else that could actually, free you, give you salvation, what it may be. So you see a lot of minorities, very, Hispanics go to church a lot, Africans, even Asians, and I think it's the Buddhist culture. Don't correct me if I'm wrong. Don't quote me on that. But you see that a lot of minorities are naturally very faith-driven and have hold tight to their religion. So in Africa, they try to take advantage of that by manipulating you, and like they'll do stunts like this so that you'll probably buy into this dude's church. You know what I mean? And it's very sad. It's disgraceful. It's very disgraceful. You know what I mean? So the bottom line is just don't fall for it. If you serve, you believe in Christ, you believe in God, serve God, don't serve man. Man's always going to do things to manipulate, trick you. They're not going to hold true. I mean, Christ resurrected, and if anybody's going to resurrect, it's going to be through Christ. You know what I mean? So it's just crazy that people are going to go to like this extent and make it a viral thing just so that people can buy in to whatever this pastor or this guy has to sell. It's pathetic.
African Stonehenge. In 2003, a pilot was flying over the hills of this region of South Africa when he crashed his plane into the mountainside. After exiting the plane, he saw before him 3 monolithic 5-ton dolomite stones sticking out of the ground, and behind them a giant stone circle. Various astronomical alignments have been identified at the site, and it's possibly the only example of a completely functional, mostly intact megalithic stone calendar in the world. The megalithic stone structures were dubbed Adam's Calendar, nicknamed the birthplace of the sun, and known as Africa's Stonehenge. It's at least 75,000 years old and is one of the oldest man-made structures found on Earth. It predates both Stonehenge in the UK and the Great Pyramid of Giza by tens of thousands of years. The discovery has been hailed by experts all over the world as a flagship among many thousands of ancient stone ruins that lie scattered throughout southern Africa. It has direct links to the ancient gold mines of King Solomon and opens up a whole new hidden part of human history. The site is aptly named Adam's Calendar because the stones are placed to attract the movement of the sun, which casts shadows on the rock. It still works perfectly as a calendar today by following the shadow of the setting sun. Number 1. Versailles of the Jungle. In the 1970s, the president of this country spent over $100 million building a luxurious palace complex for himself in the village his family came from. Known as the Democratic Republic of the Congo at the time, the president's village became known as the Versailles of the Jungle. There was even an international airport nearby big enough for a jet to land. And this is all that's left today. 50 years ago, it was just a small village of 1,500 with mud brick houses. It wasn't even marked on maps, but within a decade, the village was transformed into a sprawling city with 5-star hotels, supermarkets, hospitals with high-tech facilities, and palatial homes for the president. There was even a nuclear bunker that could house more than 500 people. Not only that, there was even a Coca-Cola bottling plant. However, the level of corruption by the government was mind-blowing. According to the most conservative estimates, the president who built this abandoned place stole $5 billion from his country, but some sources put the figure as high as $15 billion. So when the president was driven from power in 1997, this complex was ransacked and looted. It's in ruins today and being swallowed by the jungle. Since Africa is such a huge continent, we're bound to find some more shocking discoveries, and we wouldn't have it any other way. How about you? Like and subscribe since
the mysteries of the world, man. Jeez, Africa, man. There you have it. What a man discovered in Africa shocked the whole world, man. It's just a lot goes on across the world. I think obviously as Americans, and we don't really know too much about things outside of our country itself. So it's great to actually look into things like this, and I'm happy to share this with y'all. I know a lot of y'all could care less, but hey, you know what I'm saying? We on a mission to understand more, to learn more, to gain knowledge globally, universally. You know what I mean? That's what I'm on. So keep learning, keep understanding, keep diving into new content, keep reading, man. Keep searching. With that being said, we'll catch you in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace. God bless.